With the United Kingdom's general election just a few days away, the fate of the United Kingdom is arguably more at risk now than ever. Incumbent Prime Minister Theresa May and the UK Labour Party's Jeremy Corbyn are at the forefront of the election, and there are many different directions that the country could take. Here to discuss this further are former Deputy Foreign Minister and Israeli Ambassador to the United States, Danny Ayalon, and former Ambassador to New Zealand, Yosef Livne. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Pleasure, Natasha.
So let's begin by talking a little bit about the similarities and differences between Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, and how those differences and or similarities will actually impact Israel.
I think that there are very distinct differences between the two candidates. Certainly with reference to Israel, I think that Corbyn is more identified with the left wing of the Labour Party, while Theresa May is probably center-right of the Conservative Party. And their positions on issues which are of interest and concern to us are certainly different. Corbyn once defined people from Hezbollah and Hamas as his friends. Theresa May has a different outlook altogether.
Right, so and I would like to talk obviously about some of the statements that we heard from Jeremy Corbyn, but you know, Ambassador Ayalon, what is your take on who is better for Israel?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that Theresa May is much better, not just for Israel. I think for the British people itself, for the international community as a whole. I think that Corbyn has proven himself to be not only lack of experience. I mean, he's been an MP and he never had an executive position, but also in his thinking, he's pretty much on the verge of being an anarchist. And in that respect, I think that certainly when it comes to Israel, but not just to Israel, I think it is going to be very, very bad and will not be appreciated.
You know, we've seen these recent attacks on British soil in Manchester, now in London, yet we're still seeing growing support for Corbyn's Labour Party, which historically does have these pro-Hamas and pro-Hezbollah attitudes. Why is this increasing?
Well, I think the main reason is a demographic reason. I think in many of the districts, the constituencies have a growing Islamic population on the one hand. And secondly, I'm not sure that there is a real understanding yet about the danger of radical Islam, and that they all come from the same root, whether it's Al-Qaeda or ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas, they all come from the same root. And I'm not sure that this has really dawned on the people of Europe yet.
I think that another issue, besides the terrorist aspect, which became much more salient over the last 2 weeks, I think that, and we've heard that several times from different sources, the fact that the British people are probably fed up with elections. It's the third campaign in 2 years. They had the Brexit, they had previously another election campaign, and some observers say that the tendency to say at least that people would vote for Labour comes from a different perspective. We've had enough elections, so let's, you know, but I think it's probably safe to assume that Theresa May will stand to gain.
So we think that Theresa May is going to win. Is that the consensus here? I mean, how do you think the Israeli government is feeling about this, in the sense that is there somebody that anybody is sure is going to win here?
Well, her policies, you know, on security vis-a-vis the terrorists is much more, let's say, viable than Corbyn's. In that sense, I believe that most of the European leaders, certainly Trump, would like to see Theresa May winning. I'm sure Bibi Netanyahu and our government as well. And also, if it's interesting to know that from the perspective of the Jewish community in London, almost as one, they are against Corbyn, which also has been accused of anti-Semitism.
Well, I think we're just going to have to wait and see what takes place. And, you know, we're all wishing the best for the people of the United Kingdom following these horrific attacks. Thank you so much for joining us, ambassadors.
Thank you.